Okay, so let's talk about Reading is Dope, the social distancing book club that I started back at the early part of the pandemic just to get folks together on a social note, but virtually, since pretty much everyone was working from home. So we're still running strong. The book club has about 17 to 20 members. All of those members are not active, which is fine. People are busy, people are working, folks get excited, sign up for something, and then they fall off or they never get a chance to get the book, so their schedules are not meshing or whatever their deal is. But I don't let anything deter me. I'm determined to see this book club through, because I love reading and I love learning with other people. So we're going to start the year off by finishing up a book where I left off at in October, which was We Should All Be Millionaires. I didn't get a chance to finish reading the book because tragedy hit my family really hard the week of my birthday. And so that book has been on my nightstand for like the last 2 months. I'm finally coming back around to myself. And the book club members, they were very understanding. And we're going to finish that book. The discussion for that is going to be the last Sunday in this month, January. So moving forward, I'm selecting books in advance so that people can get their books ahead of time. And some people might already have their books. Some people probably loan their books out to people, and now they need to retrieve those books so that they can be ready for the book club. So starting in February, there are 2 books that I'm considering. Both will be read, but I'd like to do things in order, because sometimes you have to learn things, processes in order. I think that I'm going to start February with Mindset. The clubs will meet at the end of each month on the last Sunday of the month at 6 p.m. Central to 7 p.m. It's only going to be an hour discussion unless we go over, and the discussions are very good, but I respect people's time, so usually we stick to that 1 hour. And then for March, we're going to read Atomic Habits. We're going to put what we learned with We Should All Be Millionaires. We're going to change our mindsets, and now we're going to create habits that are going to keep us focused on what we've learned from the 2 previous books. And then moving from April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, I want the book club members or anyone to chime in and say, hey, let's read this book, let's read that book. But I like to start the year off strong with real solid, almost like self-help books that are going to get us on track, keep us focused, help us to find some direction for the new year and continue throughout the year. I just like to start January's strong and focused. So, if you will, the book club has all women. Usually when we discuss, I don't recall having more than 4 or 5 women at a time, which is fine, because that makes the meetings, the discussions really be over like within an hour. But if 20 people showed up, we would still discuss. And the meetings are very laid back, nothing formal. There will be no test at the end. No one's going to embarrass you and make you talk. Just a lot of times when you're not finished your book, you feel hesitant about showing up. Show up anyway. And just offer what you've learned from what you've read, or what is your takeaway from the book, and then you can hear what other people have to say about the book, and it might inspire you to continue with the book. Or maybe you felt like you got enough nuggets from everybody else, and you can say, hey, well, I really don't need to finish reading it, or I can just listen to the audio. I'm going to tell you now, I read books all the time. I'm an educator, so I've been reading books all of my adult life, all of my life period, throughout high school. And now I'm just reading books for fun, actually, and to build me up, because entrepreneurs read. You can't be successful business anything or a successful human in life if you don't read books. I just don't understand how people are functioning in the world and they're not doing anything to build themselves up. And reading does that for you. And it's free. Free from my perspective. You don't have to pay to be at a book club, but you do have to pay for your books. So try your hardest to get these 2 books before February. I think this is going to be the February book, Mindset by Carol Dweck, and Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, I've read this book before, and it's so good. I'm going to read it again because, see, sometimes I read books several times so that I can get a different understanding or sharpen what I've learned the first time. I'm usually a multitasker. I'm going to stop doing that because usually when you're multitasking, something is being neglected. So by me being an educator, I'm always having book clubs going in school, and I'm reading books with these kids and with this group of kids, and then I have my own books that I'm reading. I start like reading, having too many books that I'm reading at once, and then information starts getting mixed up. That stops. This year I'm going to just focus on what I'm reading for my own pleasure, for the book club's pleasure, and that's going to be it. So please do not hesitate. Join the book club, if you will. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a direct message, or just write a message right in the comments wherever you see or hear me talking about book club. Okay? Let's get with it, y'all. We got to step our game up. And in order to step our game up, we have to step our minds up. We have to shift our mindsets. We have to shift our mindsets from fixed. We have to move from fixed to growth. So a lot of people think they're in a growth pattern. They're not, because they're still doing the same thing that they were doing last year. I remember a long time ago, my pastor said something very, very profound. He said, and I can sit down now, I feel like I'm in school standing up. My pastor said this, my former pastor. He said, this is how you know that you've made progress in the year. Think about where you left off, where you started in January, and now it's December. Do you still have the same debt? Do you still have the same problems? Do you still have the same whatever it is that you may be experiencing in life? Have you progressed, or are you still where you started off? If your honest answer is, I still have the same debt, I have more debt, or yes, I still have the same problems, I have more problems, and problems are okay. Life is life. I'm going to have problems. That's fine. However, it's knowing that you have a problem, identifying that problem, and then working towards a reasonable, sensible solution. If you find that you're the one to say, yes, I do have the same problem, I still have the same debt, I have more, that means you haven't grown. And so when we take an honest look at ourselves, we have to say, hey, I need to stop this cycle of being in the same place year after year after year after year. If you want something different, you have to do something differently. And don't feel like you have to be a genius to be in the book club. Don't feel like you have to be the smartest person on the block or the sharpest crayon in the box. You don't. If you hate reading, I would never admit hating reading. I love reading. But if you don't like reading or you don't have time, get the audio. Listen to the audio while you're washing dishes, while you're doing your laundry, while you're cooking dinner. Listen to the audio. There are no excuses. I'm the type of person, I only look at results. I don't go for excuses. You can ask any of my students. They raise their hand, start trying to tell me why they didn't do their homework, why this happened. I hear you. Thank you for explaining. But I'm a results-driven person. Figure out how you can get that done, and let's move forward. So save the excuses. We're all adults here. Has my life been stagnant, or have I made growth? I've made a lot of growth in certain areas. In certain areas, I've kind of put things on the back burner, and just now I'm revisiting everything. I don't feel in a big hurry to say, oh, this is my New Year's resolution. Let me do this. I don't really like to do that because I don't like to pressure myself, because I already know what I'm going to do. So I just take my time and get it done. Excuse all of this that you see on my table. This is me organizing my office space and organizing my bills for January. We're in the middle of January. You heard me right. I'm organizing my bills for January. Should have did it back in December. be ahead of myself, but it was at the holiday season. I was busy decorating and cooking and having fun with my family. So now I'm playing catch up. And so I know what my flaws are. These are things that I'm working on. So these are the types of books that are going to help give you strategies to fix your life so that next year in December, or excuse me, next December, we can say, hey, I've made some growth from point A. Now I'm right here and I'm not doing the same thing that I was doing last year, or I don't have the same bills that I have the same as last year, or my credit score has gone up, or this has gone down. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you know when you've made some progress in life. We should not be living year after year after year where we left off at years ago. Like, no, we're just existing. We're not living. So join the book club so we can all learn together. I don't have all the answers. I love listening to the ladies have conversations and discussions. They always bring up points that I never thought about. Am I always on time finishing my books? Some days I wake up the day of the meeting, the discussion, and I like scramble finishing it, listening to the audios, and then I come ready to discuss what I got out of the book, and I listen to other people, and we just bring our tea, our coffee, our wine, and we just have a good little old talking time about literature. Literature that's going to develop us and move us forward in life. So, click the link in my bio if you're interested in joining the book club. Social distance reading is dope. The Social Distancing Book Club on Instagram and my bio, the link. I can share the link at the bottom in the description of the YouTube channel. Talk to you guys later. Get the books. Join the club. Let's talk. See ya.